Okay, and welcome to the video about volts, watts, and ohms. Alright, now I'm not going to bore you to death, but it's important that you know this. Alright, the formula that governs sort of how hot or how cool the vape is going to be is volts squared divided by ohms. Alright, now I've come up with a couple of sort of simple demonstrations so as to make this, a little bit more fun and as painless as possible. Alright. This is the 510 stick battery with a 2.8 ohm cartomizer on it. So what we have here is 3.7 times 3.7 is equal to 13.69. Okay, so volts squared, right? 13.69 divided by 2.8 is equal to 4.89 watts. All right, so here we go with a vape, approximately 8-second vape at 4.89 watts. Okay, not too shabby, actually pretty good. This is a somewhat freshly charged battery, so it might have been a little bit more than 3.7 volts, okay? Maybe we're about 3.8, 3.9 volts, all right? So maybe the watts were even a little bit higher than 4.89. But you saw the type of vapor that we got from the tiny little battery, okay? Now, I'm using the same cartomizer, okay, and I'm going to stick it onto this big battery. And I'm going to set it at 3 volts, alright? So you know the formula now. 3 times 3 is equal to 9 divided by 2.8 must be what, a little bit more than 3, 3.1, 3.2. Again, don't hold me to it, do the math, alright? So this is going to be very, very low watts. Alright, very lifeless, okay, nothing here, very lifeless vape. Now I'm going to set the same exact cartomizer, alright, I'm setting this to 5 volts, alright, and this is going to be 5 times 5 is equal to 25, divided by 2.8 is equal to 8.9 watts, okay, here we go. Alright, and again, even though this appears it's for the demonstration, it's for my personal benefit. Just a great vape, alright? And to show you the beauty of variable voltage devices, okay, I'll take it one step further and I'll do this. I'll take the battery out, alright? And I'll put it into just a tube. Alright, this has no variable voltage, nothing, it's just a tube, and whatever the battery delivers is what you get, okay? And look, now the performance is going to be somewhat poor. Alright? And that's again the beauty of the variable voltage device, because even though this battery, and I can tell you the exact charge that it has right now, okay, if you give me 1 second, the exact charge on this battery right now is 3.5 volts, okay, 3.5 volts. Alright, so when I take this battery out of the variable voltage device and I put it into just a mechanical tube, alright, it gives me 3.5 volts because that's all the battery has. And that's the beauty of sort of upping the voltage and being able to up the voltage or reduce the voltage based on the electronics that it contains in here. All right. So it's all about the watts. All right. That is what governs how hot or how cool your vape is going to be. And the other thing about these small batteries, okay, and why for vapors that are really serious, sort of, and really want to give it a good go, we recommend these types of batteries. All right. There's a couple of things that you could do if you're not happy with the vape that you're getting. Okay. There's some cartomizers out there, all right, that are very low sort of resistance, okay, because the lower the resistance goes, if you put it into the formula, you'll see the higher the watts, okay. So what winds up happening is that on a small battery like this, you're going to get this with a 3 ohm cartomizer, maybe a 2.8 ohm cartomizer, and that's it. You can't go any lower because the battery is too small and it can't provide the extra power required for the lower ohm cartomizers. Okay, so you're stuck. It is what it is. The only thing you can do to sort of improve the performance of something like this is to increase the strength of the liquid, of the e-liquid. All right, that's the only thing that you can do. On the other hand, if, for example, you've been using, let's say, a 24 milligram liquid, okay, and you've been using a 2.5 ohm cartomizer on a device like this, all right, you can go out, you can get yourself a 1.7 ohm cartomizer, all right, and then you might very, very well be able to lower the strength of the liquid because the watts are going to be higher, and it's going to be you're going to get greater sensation in the throat or throat hit, okay, and a fuller feeling in your chest with a lower strength nicotine, all right, and that's ultimately the reason why people recommend these types of devices to new vapors. All right, they don't restrict you. The batteries are large enough to where they can power all types of cartomizers. Okay, so again, I pretty much showed you everything. It's volts squared divided by ohms. Okay, that's it. If you got this, you're pretty much home free. You can customize your vape, pretty much to taste with a tremendous amount of specificity. And you can be very, very exact, all right? You'll know why the vape is sort of dropping off. You know that a freshly charged battery is obviously going to perform better than one that needs to be recharged, all right? You saw the beauty of variable voltage devices, and despite the fact that this battery's charge is at 3.5 volts right now, okay, that you can still select it and say, okay, that's fine, but I still want you to give me 5 volts, and it will. Okay, that's the beauty of the electronics that it has inside. And just one last thought here, and I'm just thinking out loud, all right? The way that it kind of works now is that, people start out, with the little stick batteries, or, maybe something like this, all right? And you probably get, 5 cartomizers and, 1 or 2 sort of little bottles of liquid, something like this, okay, in a sampler pack or something. And it would almost seem that variable voltage devices would be perfect for those sort of just coming into this, okay, because you have the device that's settable and can work around the very limited number of cartomizers that you have, or different resistance cartomizers that a new user would have. It would work around the very limited amount of e-liquid. Okay, you're probably going to have 3-4 flavors, most probably in one strength. Okay, and if it's not strong enough with a variable voltage device, you could up the volts and make it a little bit heavier. Okay, so again, I'm just thinking out loud. I'm not necessarily recommending we change anything or trying to reinvent the wheel here. I'm just thinking out loud and saying that a variable voltage device could actually, sort of benefit those that don't have, the experience beforehand, all right? Because it can work around the items that you have. Whereas the other way, if you don't have a variable voltage, you have to adjust. You have to buy different cartomizers. You have to buy different liquid in order to sort of get the same effect. Okay, so again, I've repeated myself about 100 times, all right, but I know that this is important, and I don't feel too bad about doing so, because now that you have this down pat, all right, you're pretty much all set to go. Alrighty, so thanks, and I hope the quality of your vape has just improved. or if it hasn't been that great, now you know why. Alrighty, and join me for the next video.